Hey Area 51, stay till the end of this video because I have an announcement about going bowling tonight, Sunday the 13th.
We interrupt this program. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United
Hello everybody at Area 51. It's Pastor Dave. I'm back from my office again, and today's message is about wisdom and discernment. I have an emergency message straight from Moscow. I'm not lying. I'm going to read it out loud to you guys, and you guys are going to hear something that might surprise you. Why? Well, you know what? I used to go to a church. It was one of those big churches, and every time something happened in the news, they would post about it. They would take sides immediately before any of the details came out. That was detrimental to them, and it was detrimental to my membership there because I quickly noticed that some of these decisions that they were making and things they were standing behind weren't accurate. They were choosing the wrong sides. Sometimes things can be complex and complicated. Sometimes there's heroes and villains on both sides of the spectrum. So it's important to use discernment, to use wisdom, and to look at those important details. Details matter. In the Bible, in Proverbs 3:5-6, it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." If we look forward to the New Testament, 1 Corinthians 2:14, Paul writes to the church in Corinth, which is in Greece, "The person without the Spirit does not accept things that come from the Spirit of God, but considers them foolishness, and cannot understand them because they are they are discerned only through the Spirit." In 1 Samuel 16 verse 7, Samuel's hearing about how to find the next king. "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider the appearance of his height, for I have rejected him." The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And if we look back again to Proverbs is kind of like a verse by verse. It gives you kind of an understanding and a lot of really cool one-liners. It's kind of it's an awesome book to read. I absolutely love it. If you want a guide on how to live, it's a great thing to read. But in Proverbs 2, verses 6-15, "For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those who walk is blameless. For he guards the course of the just and protects the way of the faithful ones. Then you will understand what is right and just," that's the important part, "and unfair, and in every good path. For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will be present in your soul. Discretion will protect you, and understanding will guard you. Wisdom will save you from the ways of the wicked men, from men whose words are perverse, who have left the straight paths to walk in the dark ways, who delight in doing wrong and rejoice in the perverseness of evil, whose paths are crooked and who devours in their ways." Kind of creepy. But it's important to have wisdom and discernment to look through the minor details to figure out what's going on. See, back during the USSR, the communist era of Russia, there was something called the Iron Curtain. And during the Iron Curtain, no information could get in or out. In the NHL, when they were looking to recruit Russians to come to the United States and other areas to play, they had to sneak in over walls, over chain barbed wire, and through guards who were carrying AK-47s or AKMs. And when they got to these great hockey players, they would tell them they could make millions. They didn't believe them. They didn't think that there was anybody more prosperous than the USSR, even though they were living in poverty. They had to sneak in jerseys with their names on it. When they saw them, those were so precious to them. They risked their lives to flee the USSR to go play hockey in the United States. Now, some of the companies out there are doing the job of the Iron Curtain for the USSR, for modern day Russia. See, a lot of the Russians, up until recently, were able to get news and other things from outside of their country. They would be able to get social media and get to see both sides of the story. They have mandatory military service in Russia, so not a lot of Russians were real happy about the invasion into Ukraine. And it's terrible what Vladimir Putin and the Russian Federation, the government, is doing to Ukraine. And those people, we need to pray for them because they are under just terrible, terrible living conditions and in fear for their lives every day. But a lot of the people in Russia protested this action because they didn't want to see their boys and girls going into combat and being killed over a war to reunite the USSR. There really was no reason to go invade the Ukraine. Many people got arrested in Russia when they were protesting. Thousands, literally thousands, got arrested. That's not counting the other people that didn't get arrested. That was never heard of in the old days of the communists, of the Soviet Union. But today, because they had information from the outside world, they were able to see both sides of the story. However, a lot of the businesses have pulled out. They've left Russians all alone, and the only people that these businesses are hurting are the people that rely on those sources of information to make decisions. A lot of people remember what the USSR was like and what freedom is like now. And that's why they're willing to risk everything to protest. And unfortunately, some Russians have been targeted when they're abroad. They've also had, they can't get to their medications. They can't get to their bank information either. As some of you may know, my wife and her family lived in Russia in the early 90s for about 7 or 8 years. They have a lot of friends there. They were missionaries preaching the good news, the gospel, to the people there. I got this email that was forwarded to me from a woman in Russia. They're afraid to speak there because they know that anything that they get out of their country is monitored, is watched. So they're afraid of what they say because they're afraid of what their government is going to do to them if they speak the truth. So this woman contacted my mother-in-law and gave her this message of what it's like right now for the people that don't support this war. These are the Russians just trying to live and survive and get the news they need to be able to make wise decisions. She writes, "Hi, Lori." That's my mother-in-law, who's awesome, by the way. "It's not about you, of course, and it's not about some people abroad that I know. It's about foreign countries and their citizens. It's what I read about us," talking about the Russians. "It's what they do to my people. Absolutely, all foreign companies have left Russia from all the areas. We have no currency. We have no banking, no traveling anymore, no cards to pay for, and many more no's. They can't get their food. Now they have to rely on the Russian government for their rations. They have to put their trust in a very wicked regime. They don't like it." She goes on to say, "I bought pills that I take every day for 1 year." And she's lucky. Now she has a year worth of these pills. She says they are made abroad, which means she's not going to be able to get her medication anymore. "We are blocked completely. It's going to be poverty and unemployment for many years. Even Russian companies are under sanctions, such as art, science, and medicine. Sick with cancer, Russian kids are under sanctions as well, and they will get no help from anyone. It's clear this is a genocide that has a purpose to erase Russian culture totally. This conflict has no black and white reasons, i.e. Russians bad, Ukrainians good. It's something deeper and has been planned before. I am not emotional. I'm educated enough to see behind the scenes or behind the screen with facts. But you know us, the Russian mentality. We are able to survive any circumstances. She says, remember back in Omsk, that's where they lived. Love you tons, dear. And we appreciate your care and support. So the Russians that are just trying to survive, who oppose this war, they need our prayers too. They don't want to see the Ukrainians hurt, injured, or killed. They also need information. If you know anybody in Russia, reach out. Tell them that we support them as people. They're not the Russian government. They want this to stop. They want this to end. They want their freedoms back. And these companies that are pulling away and restricting their freedoms are doing Putin's work for him. They're making things worse for the people and better for the government, the evil government over there, who is not only invading the Ukraine, he's also being terrible to his own people. It's horrible. So pray for Ukraine. Pray for the Russians. Pray that the government in Russia wises up and uses some of that wisdom and discernment. And be careful what you back and what you say before you have all the details. And this weekend, on the 13th, today of Sunday, we are going to meet at the Waterford Lanes bowling alley. It's on the corner of Cooley and Hospital. We're going to meet at 6 p.m. instead of meeting at the church. So that way we have more time for bowling. So I hope to see you guys there at bowling. It's on Pastor Dave again. Can't wait to see you tonight. With care. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.